Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome in, Field of 68 After Dark, Monday, March 9th edition of the show. And tonight, we are going to be talking conference tournaments. And I got just a crew for it. I got Rob Dauster here with me, co-founder of Field of 68. And I've got the professor of Field of 68 and our resident bracketologist. He'll reveal his entire field at some point tonight, seed by seed. Tyler Hansbrough. Tyler, what's up, my guy? How you been?
Man, doing great. Weather's good here in North Carolina. It's March, favorite time of the year. So, I'm doing great.
Awesome. We're here, obviously, on SiriusXM channel 84 with you for about the next hour. We're on YouTube, we're on X, and then as soon as this show wraps up in the next hour, we're going to be headed over to YouTube and X exclusively for the afters. We're going to take a look at the Big Ten. We're going to take a look at the SEC. We're going to take a look at the ACC, and then we're going to take a look at the Big 12. So that's the lineup for the main show. But let's start, ladies and gentlemen, with the Big Ten. Obviously, a lot of intrigue in this tournament. And it feels like, a lot of different teams that could win this tournament. Michigan, your 1 seed, Nebraska 2, Michigan State 3, Illinois 4. And then obviously, Purdue sitting there at 7, Wisconsin 5. So a lot of intrigue, Rob. So I'll start with you. When you look at this field in this bracket, who immediately jumps to mind? Is it just Michigan and everybody else is going to have to fall in line to win it? What do you make in terms of who's taking this tournament down?
There's a couple things that are really interesting to me in this bracket. The first is that if Indiana can get past the winner of Northwestern and Penn State, which frankly is no guarantee based on the way that Indiana has been playing of late, then they will be playing Purdue in what will effectively be an elimination game for the Hoosiers for the NCAA tournament. If they can beat Purdue, they have a very good chance to dance. As of today, according to our Fielding the 68 experts, Indiana is on the wrong side of the bubble. So they probably got to win 2 in the Big Ten tournament to be able to get in. That second one will be against Purdue. How about that for a rivalry game? Indiana, Purdue in Chicago for the chance for the Hoosiers to get to the NCAA tournament. I think that Purdue fans would delight in nothing more than seeing them knock Indiana out of the picture. The other thing that really intrigues me, just Wisconsin, point blank period. Mm-hmm. I think I'm in love with this team. They are awesome. Nick Boyd is awesome. John Blackwell is awesome. They're bigs. On the nights that they do not miss, then Wisconsin can beat a lot of really, really good teams, and they've proven that this season. I think the Big Ten tournament is going to be a lot of fun.
Tyler, what about you? What jumps out at you in terms of, who's your favorite? Who's leading the pack here in terms of teams that's going to win this Big Ten tournament?
Well, it's no surprise. Michigan, the way they've dominated when they played their best, they're almost unbeatable, and their size. But, I'm with Dauster on this one. I think Wisconsin is a team that Michigan could face, quarterfinals or wherever it is. But they beat Michigan on their home court. And he's right. If they can get some quality play from their bigs, and their bigs can hit some big shots, along with Boyd and Blackwell, I think they could have a little bit of an upset. The other thing that stands out to me is something I'm really looking forward to, and it's probably been one of the most disappointing teams, especially down the stretch and of lately, is Purdue. Are they going to fix their problems? Are they going to be able to tighten it up defensively and not just to play Ole defense and let teams just run up big scores on them? Are they going to be able to correct that? Are they going to be able to be the team that we thought they would be preseason? They're a veteran team. They have guys with tournament experience, but they haven't showed it or played like it as of lately. And the other thing is the best team or the best story to me this year is Nebraska and how well they've been playing. I know they haven't played as well as of lately, like they did to start the year with that big winning streak. I want to see if they can make a little run. I want to see if they can kind of build a little bit of momentum going into the NCAA tournament. And I know they've had a lot of talk about this is going to be the team that finally gets a win in the tournament. I'm sick of hearing about them trying to get a win in the tournament. It's not about getting a win. It's about going out there and playing your game, and then you'll get a win. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. I just want them to, have a good Big Ten tournament, build some momentum for the NCAA tournament, and play the way they've been playing all year, and that win will come. But those are the things I'm looking forward to in the Big Ten tournament.
It sounds like you're one of these everybody gets a trophy guys, right? We're just going to go out there. We're going to have some fun. Everyone's going to have a good time. We're going to laugh about it. It doesn't matter if you win or you lose. Are you a participation trophy guy, T?
Hell no, absolutely not. Absolutely. That's part of the problem is we want to just get one win. One win. Yeah, you want to get one win, but you want to get multiple wins. Hell, you want to get 6 wins. You want to bring home the damn big trophy, the one and only trophy. But if Nebraska did that, then I would be very surprised, and they'd surpass anybody's expectations. Probably including themselves that they placed on them this year. So
we're gonna kind of have
I love that you came in here and you said all these nice things about Nebraska, and then I made fun of you. You're like, yeah, it'd be nice if they could do it, but I don't think that they're good enough, man. They might stink after all.
No, they're good. They're good. Hey, Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8. Let's not just put this.
I mean, that's a hellacious achievement for a program that's never won a tournament game, to be completely clear. So if that's the way their season goes, that would be remarkable. We're going to kind of have a format for each of these tournaments. We're going to pick sort of the winners. Then we're going to have sleepers. And if it's different, we'll do bit stealers, right? Maybe your sleeper and your bit stealer is the same team, but we'll kind of work our way through. Look, Michigan's going to win it. I'd be a jackass to pick anybody else. Doesn't mean that, there's not maybe value in other teams. If you're going to bet them, you see them here from BetMGM. Michigan is minus 125. The next closest is Illinois at plus 450. Let's talk about sleepers, Rob.
Can I say one thing on that real quick, John?
Sure.
I don't think that it's a cakewalk, because I think a lot of these tournaments, and Tyler has talked about this at length on when it comes to conference tournaments. Like, a lot of programs don't prioritize it. If you're Michigan and you're playing for something in the bigger picture, and you know that you literally have the last game before Selection Sunday, is that something that you're going to prioritize 3 games in 3 days? The third one being that's going to end literally at 6:00 on Sunday, and then there's a chance that you might be playing on Thursday. So you're going to have 3 days off. You're going to have a day of travel. You're going to have to prep. Like, are you putting all your eggs in that basket, hoping that you can win it? Or is it like, yeah, we'll go try to do this thing, but if we lose, like, it doesn't really matter. So that's the hard part about it for me.
Right. I remember a couple of years ago to that point. I remember a couple of years, Houston kind of had I want to say they made it all the way to the Big 12 championship game, but Juwan Roberts was hurt. And like, if it was like a tournament game, like a real tournament game, he would have played. But Kelvin was like, listen, man, like it doesn't matter to us. Like, if we win the Big 12 tournament championship, like, we are what we are. And it's really not. And I think he played like 4 minutes, and they ended up getting pounded by Iowa State. So that does happen, to your point. And Tyler, I don't think you would subscribe to that thinking, though. Like, I'm looking at it, he's like, no, you're full of shit. You play the game and you play to win.
No, I'm actually with Dauster on this, believe it or not. I've been a part of winning the ACC tournament and having that quick turnaround for the NCAA tournament. And, I think that these conference tournaments are really built for teams that, it's kind of like a desperation act or a Hail Mary who had a lot of potential but didn't really play out throughout the regular season. When I look at like a team, I'll just say like NC State, they haven't, had the regular season a lot of people thought they would have. The conference tournament is set up for teams like that who have talent, have potential to go on these runs and then slip into the tournament. Those are teams that really look forward to the conference tournaments. But I will say, just going off experience, the year we won in 2009, we lost to Florida State. And the other thing that it does is when you lose in these conference tournaments, not only does it allow you to rest, recover, and not have that quick of a turnaround, but also you get to focus on some of your mistakes and what you're not doing right. You're watching film, you're having competitive practices, and you're tightening up your weaknesses, and you're looking at what you're vulnerable at and be like, hey, this is why we lost. We got to correct this. We got to fix this. And then you can kind of focus on what you're not doing well, have some good practices, take care of your body and get right for the tournament. And when you win a conference tournament, listen, everybody's happy. People are celebrating. People are telling you how good you are. And so that's a weak mindset, in my opinion, to go into the NCAA tournament, because that's when a team that's hungry and you just won a conference tournament can come at you and knock you out.
Well, there's no doubt that you cannot simulate desperation. And we see that, occasionally in these conference tournaments. So, Rob, I guess that's a pretty decent place to start. Does that make Purdue plus 725 a bet for you as a sleeper?
No, I don't think that they have it. I just don't think that this is the size and athleticism is an issue. The one that I think is going to be really interesting here is Michigan State, because I don't think that Tom Izzo has that like off switch. I don't think he can do that. And they just lost at Michigan. You saw the rant that he had in the press conference after the game, where nobody's little brother. And the other one was Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin has shown they can play at a high level. I think that in their heart of hearts, they know that they're probably not in that like national championship kind of a tier. And if you're not, then why not go out there and try to win the Big Ten tournament? So Wisconsin and Michigan State are the two that kind of I have my eye on. I don't know if they count as sleepers. I guess Wisconsin probably counts as a sleeper because they're not one of the teams that has the triple bye. It's not even a double bye anymore. It's a triple bye in the Big Ten. So I think Wisconsin is a sleeper. Like, what were they plus? I think they're plus 2,500 to win it on BetMGM.
Can you? Is that accurate? Is that accurate, Dave? Can we get those back up? Is that possible?
It is. I looked it up earlier. I looked it up earlier. It's plus 2,500. They're such a sleeper. They're not even on our graphic.
I mean that. Okay, I will say that feels like with the volatility that they play with, that feels like a misprice. So I would definitely take a shot at 25-1. Given, I mean, they've got some of the best wins in college basketball this year, so it would make sense to me. What about you, Ty? When you look at quote unquote sleepers, who comes to mind for you in this tournament?
Sleeper for me, I kind of miss. I'm not sure if Dauster said Wisconsin, but that would be my sleeper. I just think that if they can get some quality play from their bigs and their bigs light up or get hot, I think they're going to be able to maybe catch Michigan like they did at Michigan. And Boyd and Blackwell are obviously going to have a big night for that to happen. But that would be a team I would pick kind of as my sleeper. And I know that they're in the tournament, and but I'm not sure anybody's really picking them to win the Big Ten tournament as of right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if they came in there and knocked out Michigan and then went on to, win the tournament.
Dave, can we get the bracket up real quick? Because I want to ask, about some paths here, if we can. So Wisconsin, there obviously in the 5 spot, they would have to get through Michigan, we presume, in what would be the semifinal there. What about if we go deeper? What about if we go to these double-digit seeds, Dauster? Is there any intrigue for you whatsoever, 10 through 14?
Oh, man, I mean, Indiana, if anything, right? Just because they have some of the weapons offensively, I guess. But overall, no. There's a reason why those teams are seated where they are seated in the Big Ten tournament.
UCLA is an interesting one to me, Tyler, at 6. I mean, this is a team that, has certainly, I would say, under-delivered relative to, the offseason hype that they had with bringing in Donovan Dent. But is that the kind of team that you could see, all right, this matters to them? They kind of want to make a statement and build and pad their resume. Could you see a team like UCLA, going on a run in this field?
Absolutely. You know how Mick Cronin is. I think he's up there with kind of Izzo. I don't really think he has an off switch, and I think that his teams play that, kind of defensive grinded out style. If they're on point with their defense and they're dominating the paint and Donovan Dent gets hot and he plays kind of to his, potential or, kind of what we've seen flashes of from him this year in big games, I think that they could definitely make a run. They're a team that could be a little bit of a sleeper. That's a good call by you.
Trevor, by the way, and I'm not gonna docs everything he said, 'cause I don't know how much of this is admissible in the court of law. So Trevor, if I need to stop short of saying something here, but he is like, don't touch that Illinois number. Don't touch Illinois. They're the second in the field, I believe, at plus 425. No interest in Illinois on your side, Rob. Are you heeding Trevor's advice?
No, I actually think that I would pick Illinois to win it, because I think that they are one of those teams where a run through the Big Ten tournament would significantly benefit them, and we've seen them win Big Ten tournaments before. But if you're looking at the price, right, I just think that Wisconsin has to get by USC or Washington, right? And that's not a given. Both those teams have some talent, but if they do, then Wisconsin playing Illinois in the 4-5 game, and one of those teams is plus 2,500, and one of those teams is plus 425. Like if you're gonna bet Illinois, just bet Wisconsin and get basically 5x the payoff if somebody wins. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
All right, so last one on this, and then we'll take a break and we'll talk some more conference tournaments. Bid stealers. Is there a team, Tyler, that's not in the field that Dagan wanted us to ask about bid stealers? I don't see one personally.
It's Indiana,
but
it's Indiana that can be a bid stealer, but Indiana can play their way into the tournament, right? If Indiana beats, let's just say they beat Northwestern and then they beat Purdue and lose to Nebraska, they're in all likelihood going to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't think that they win it. I don't think there's anyone from those seeds lower that can go and get the automatic bid. But Indiana is the team that can go from outside the field to inside the field, which would be detrimental to I don't know, some of the, like a New Mexico or a VCU or a Santa Clara. Like those, if you're VCU and you're Santa Clara, you are just sitting there and you are praying that Indiana has a stinker against Northwestern.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Doesn't feel like we have a ton of options in that regard in this particular tournament. Maybe as we get into some more, we'll find some more. But anyway, that is going to do it for the Big Ten preview.
Make your prediction. Who you got, John?
I got Michigan. I told you I got Michigan. Why the hell would I pick anybody else? If I could bet Purdue to make the championship, I would make that bet. But they're not going to beat Michigan. So it's
money line.
I can do like an old school. I can do like an old school. Do it game by game.
Money line, roll it up, run it back. Money line, run it back. Money line, run it back.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure what it would be. I don't know what the number would be in the Big Ten final. I'd obviously be praying that somebody knocked off Michigan, because you guys tell me nobody gives a shit about conference tournaments. So that's what I'd be praying for. So all right, we'll come back. We're gonna take a look at the SEC and the ACC when we get back. Stick around. Field of 68 after dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. March Madness is here, and you know what that means. It's a time of excitement and a time when legends are forged. In other words, it's a time to wear chubby. Skies out, thighs out, baby. It's getting warmer. The clock's moved up an hour, and it's time for Chubbies. Chubbies was founded in 2011 by a group of friends with a simple mission: rid closets of uncomfortable clothes and put the fun back in functional fits. They set out to create shorts, trunks, and polos that put personality back into your wardrobe with fits that look good and feel even better. better. Chubby's shorts aren't just insanely comfortable. They're built with premium fabrics that are quick drying, wrinkle resistant, and antimicrobial. Chubby's keeps you comfy, casual, and dangerously confident. For a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners a 20% off discount with code F68 at chubbysshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with code F68. Give your thighs the VIP treatment that they deserve. Support our show and tell them we sent you.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark, Monday, March 9th edition of the show on SiriusXM, on YouTube, on X. Tonight, we're talking conference tournaments. We're making picks for most of the Power League conference tournaments, and we will continue that discussion with the SEC. Got Rob Dauster, got Tyler Hansbrough. I am John Martin. So let's talk about the SEC. Obviously, Florida has just been dominant over the last 2 months of the season. They are sitting there pretty as your number one seed, pretty manageable road as you would expect. Alabama is your 2 seed, Arkansas 3, Vandy 4. Rob, we'll just come back to you. Anybody beating Florida? That's really the question in this tournament, right?
I don't think so. I just think Florida's on such a run, and I think outside of them, the rest of the SEC is just kind of limited to me, right? Like Vanderbilt is kind of small. Tennessee probably is not going to have Nate Ament. I don't know if that's official yet, but I doubt they're going to have Nate Ament. Kentucky is played 2 of their best games and lost both of them to Florida in the last month. I don't think Missouri's got it. Arkansas, if Darius Acuff has a bad ankle, you're going to play him in 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days, ending on Sunday in the SEC tournament. So I guess maybe Alabama can pick him off, but again, Alabama just doesn't necessarily have the size and side. So that price that we have on Florida, I don't know if Dagan has the odds up there, but minus 185. Everybody else is at least plus 600. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna take Florida at that number. It's just that I don't think it's worth it at that price. But I think Florida rolls through this thing.
I mean, I think it's worth it. Like nobody's beating them. Like nobody in this league matches up with them whatsoever. That's I mean, not most teams in the country don't, but like especially like look. I mean, let's just go down the list here. Arkansas has 1 big, 1.5 bigs. Alabama has 1 big. Tennessee has, bigs that don't do anything, and then Vandy has no bigs. Tyler, I mean, I just feel like 185 feels short to me. I'll be totally honest, just based on how this team matches up stylistically with the rest of the league.
Yeah, Florida's beatable. And I don't know why we're talking about them like they're the 95 Bulls. Missouri has actually beat Florida in Columbia early on. And, let's not act like Florida, if they don't show up and play basketball, they could lose their first game in the SEC tournament. They're a contender. Maybe they're, riding high. Everyone's telling them how good they are. Mizzou beat them. Mark Mitchell's athletic guy. He can get out there, get you some points. If Missouri gets it going offensively and they get something from their bigs, Florida can lose this game. And also, as you're talking about it, Bama could knock them off. They have some great guards. Phylon, Holloway, if they get it going, they could beat Florida. And you're right. If Darius Acuff is playing healthy for Arkansas, they've got the athleticism to run up and down and make it a ball game. But, yeah, Florida is a popular pick, but I'm not as high on Florida, I guess, as you guys. And I know that they're playing like some thoroughbreds right now, but, they're very beatable if they don't show up.
Well, all right. So who's your pick then? Because it sounds like Rob and I are on Florida. Who do you have if not Florida? Because it sounds like you're a little skeptical. Who's winning the SEC tournament according to Tyler Hansbrough?
If not Florida, Alabama's going to win. That would be my pick. I just think if Phylon gets it rolling, Holloway gets it rolling, and Sherrell steps up, they're big and plays big inside, and they get some quality.
That's
play
the big
from them,
one.
I think they could. Yeah.
It's Sherrell. They need Sherrell to. I mean, this dude is 6'11", 260, and there's moments where he plays like a 6'11", 260 monster, and there's moments where you're like, I now I understand why they tried so damn hard to get Charles Bediako enrolled and eligible this season.
Well, I mean, I think Sherrell has done everything that he's been asked to do. I mean, I think I think he's been great for them this year. The problem is they literally have nobody else. Like they're basically playing 4 out, 1 in. I mean, they have no, like Bo Bowen they throw out there, and he's really not that guy. So it's really on Nate Oates. And again, I'm a big Nate Oates fan, and I love that team, and I love Phylon, and I love how they play. But he let them down by not getting another big.
Well, they've just been obliterated by injuries. Like Amari Allen is in and out of the lineup, right. And Taylor Bowen has been banged up, and Keaton Bristow's done it for the year, and he looked like he might end up being the guy that steps in there. Noah Williamson just they thought he was going to be good enough to be a backup big, and it looks like he probably is not ideal for that role. So injuries have not helped them. But I think the bigger issue is when you look at what college basketball has been like the last 6 or 7 years, right? It's been let's get all of these great guards. Let's space it out. You can be good enough on the defensive end where you can hold your own against teams that are a little bit bigger. And if you got a small ball 4 like Amari Allen that can be your size difference maker, then yeah, that's work. That's one. He's been to a Final Four and Elite 8 in the last 2 seasons. The only other team that's done that is Duke, right? The problem is this year, if you are going to compete with the best teams in college basketball, not only do you have to have one stud big, you got to be able to play a 4 and 5 that are both huge. You have to be able to match up with someone that's going to have 6'9" Tommy Hawker, 6'9" Yaxel Lindenberg, or 6'8" Ivan Karchenkov at the 3. And you're going to have to do that when all of those teams also have a stud big coming off the bench. So that's the problem with Alabama is they have a roster built for 23, 24 and 25, 26.
Yeah, no, I mean they're live. I can't step in front of Florida at this moment. All right, let's get that bracket back up and let's talk about some sleepers, Dagan, because there's some candidates. There's some interesting teams here in the SEC. Georgia, we know they can score with the best of them. Buckyball is chaotic and maybe the kind of team
Bucky for me.
All right, you're just going to cut me off while I'm trying to give flowers to multiple programs.
No, it's Buckyball. Think about how difficult it is to prepare for, man. The way that they press, the way that they run. Like how many teams they're gonna make a layup and then you got to press in your face. They're gonna make a free throw, then you got to press in your face. You're gonna miss a jumper and you're gonna have a press in your face. They get threes up, and if they get hot, they can. Like they're one of those teams where if they have the right kind of shooting night, I think that they can beat anybody in college basketball. I don't think they can string like 4 of those around together, but hey, if they get hot, man. They got a couple guys that literally only shoot threes. Ruben Dominguez is my spirit animal. He only shoots threes. He does nothing else.
Well, it's obviously been a really, really good year for him in year one. His predecessor, not so much at Maryland. Tyler, who's your sleeper? You look at this field. Who's maybe a team that nobody's talking about that could take the crown?
I look at Vanderbilt, and if they get it rolling, they get some quality play from like a Jalen Washington. They're big, and they get some quality inside play. They had a really good start to the year. They've kind of shown that they can grind out and win some ball games that are tough. If I'm going to go with a pure kind of like sleeper that has shown a little bit of success, especially early on, I'd probably roll with Vanderbilt. That would be my pick, Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a team that can definitely get hot for a week, right, from 3, and they can score with the best of them. Metrics like them. So, yeah, Can you put up the odds again, real quick, Dagan, just so we could take one last look at that? Yeah, 12-1. I mean. Hate Tennessee. I hate Tennessee at plus 950, especially if Nene Ment's not playing or is not 100%. I would definitely not bet that whatsoever. They're too one-dimensional without him. They lean so much on Gillespie and Ament. So if he's not in there, if he's not 100%, Tennessee is not getting a bet from me at all. All right, let's talk bid stealers, Rob. Anybody in this field? I mean, Auburn's probably the one you're looking at, right? They got to win a game or two to even put themselves back in that discussion.
Yeah, I don't think that they can get back into the at-large picture, but I do think that they can win a couple games here. And they with Keyshawn Hall and Tahad Pettiford and Elijah Freeman and the talent that is on that roster, I absolutely can see them in theory, not in practice, in theory, reeling off 5 in a row, because I think that they could beat Mississippi State, and then you get Auburn without, then you get Tennessee without native men, and then you get Vanderbilt, who doesn't necessarily have a ton of size, and then you get Florida, who you've already beaten, and then on the other side of the bracket, it's Alabama, Arkansas without Darius Acuff. So Auburn's the one, and they would be a pure bid thief because they currently, as we stand, are not in the tournament, and they're probably like. Texas A&M doesn't want to take a loss. Georgia's probably good. Missouri should probably be okay. Texas, you don't want to lose to Ole Miss, but as long as you get past Ole Miss, you're probably going to be safe. So I think that Auburn's really the only one. Here's my question, John. Kentucky, they're a 9 seed. Kentucky is a 9 seed. The Wildcats, Big Blue. Do you remember in 2011 when UConn got off to a great start and Kemba Walker and all of them, they went out to Maui and they won the Maui Invitational. They climbed up to top 5 in America. And then season just kind of falls apart a little bit. They're not what you thought they were going to be. And they head into the Big East tournament and they have to win 5 games in 5 days as a 9 seed. I remember being there on a Tuesday afternoon, watching them play South Florida and Dominique James of all teams at noon in an empty Madison Square Garden. They reeled off 5 in a row. They won the Big East tournament. Can Kentucky do it?
Tyler, what do you think?
Come on, guys. Don't ask me this. I don't. Man, you guys are going to get Big Blue Nation fired up at me. I mean, they play better
anymore. I think they would just.
Well, to start the year, they're unwatchable. And, they've really turned it around, and they've made some more hustle plays, and they're actually playing like they enjoy basketball. And Otega Oweh's starting to come in, having some flashes as well. But could they win a couple games? Yes, but they're not going to win the SEC tournament. I mean, I would be floored if they did.
Yeah, it is amazing that it took us to the ass end of the SEC tournament preview to mention the word Kentucky. And I think Rob only did that because we're contractually obligated to talk about Kentucky on every show. And that was his opportunity to do that. So
I'm just saying, you connect a lot of dots. Like a text that just got Malachi Moreno, cardiac Kemba in the Garden. It's the same thing.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess it was random as hell when UConn did that. So that would be the only correlation. This would be random. But I would certainly not bet on it. All right, Dag, are we moving on to the ACC? Let's do that. Dagan says that was gross. Shame on Rob Dauster. The Atlantic Coast Conference. That's the home of Tyler Hansbrough. That's one of the lands that Tyler Hansbrough built. Obviously, that's going to kick off tomorrow. Is that tomorrow? Yes, it sure does. Tomorrow, we get the ACC tournament. Duke, obviously, your 1 seed. Though that's got a little bit of an asterisk with the injuries to Ngangba and Caleb Foster. Virginia, the 2, Miami 3, North Carolina, the 4. Rob will come back to you. This is one of those fields where it's like, all right, Duke's not 100%. How much do they care? Does that leave the opening for another team like a Virginia, for example, to come in and take this down as the 2 seed?
Yeah, it does. I think Virginia ends up winning this. That's my take. What this bracket is just depressing to me, man. Like I planned on coming down to Charlotte. I booked flights, I booked hotels, and then we find out that Caleb Wilson is done for the year. Then we find out that Michael Brown's got a back injury, and he is 50-50 on whether or not he's going to play. Then we find out Caleb Foster's got this foot injury, and Pat Ngangba's injured, and they might not play. So it went from being like, man, this could really be awesome to like, well, it's going to be a lot of fun, but a lot of these best players aren't going to be available. So that kind of stinks. That injuries suck. You never want to see that. But yeah, I think Virginia, we've kind of written them off because they got smacked by Duke in a game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And because they don't really have that like marquee big name highlight reel win. Well, I think that they get that here. I think they beat Miami. I think they get past. Actually, I think Stanford gets past NC State, and then Virginia beats Stanford, and then the Hoos take down North Carolina. in the ACC tournament title game.
Duke is a massive favorite, even with the expectation that Caleb Foster and Pat Ngongwa do not play. So Dauster is betting Virginia plus 750. Louisville is 9-1. Miami 20-1, and Tyler Hansborough's Heels 22-1. Tyler, who's winning the ACC tournament, my man?
I would say Duke right now, even with the injuries. I just think that they're too they're rolling on all cylinders. I just think that with their half-court defense and the way they shrink the court and the way they're playing right now, I just think that they've got to be for sure the favorite. And if I were going to pick a team, it would definitely be Duke. I just think
it sounds like it hurts you to say that. That sounded painful.
No, not at all. I mean, I wish it was Carolina. I just think that John Shire's done an unbelievable job. He's actually who I think probably should. Hoiberg and Shire, to me, are the coach of the year, two candidates, in my opinion. And I think Shire's done an unbelievable job. And everything that they do, when you watch them, even pregame, there's intent, and that everything they do is very tactical and with intention. I just think all around what he's done at Duke is very impressive. Boozer kid, he's just getting better and better. And I've seen the progression of him as a player as well, being able to put himself in scoring position. Early on in the year, he was catching in that mid post, kind of out of position, allowing teams to double team him. Now he's just putting himself in better position, deep seals, just like his dad did, not allowing the double teams, finding different ways to score. And the Sarr kid is playing unbelievable. He's really progressed throughout the season as well. And, they've got a lot of length. Malik Brown's unbelievable defender. But, yeah, Duke to me is the favorite. I mean, it's pretty simple to me.
Rob, you were talking earlier when we were talking about the SEC tournaments, how you didn't think minus 185 was worth it. That's where I'm at with Duke and minus 375. Like, I could not imagine laying that number. We talked about the injuries on Saturday to those guys. Can we get the bracket back up, Dagan, just to take a look? Because I think this is the tournament, Rob, where we could legitimately see some chaos. Like, why can't Louisville go on a run? Why can't this NC State team go on a run? I mean, I think like your back half, Florida State's playing much better basketball over the last month. Like, why can't somebody from, that back half of this league do something crazy? It kind of feels like this is the tournament of the ones we've discussed so far.
And the other part about it is there are 5 bubble teams that are going to have their tournament lives determined in this tournament, right? Like, Stanford right now is much closer to being in the tournament right now than I think anybody realizes. They're the last team in for us on the field in the 68. And if they get past Pitt and they play the NC State, that feels like the kind of game that could end up being a play-in game or maybe even an elimination game. Cal is right there on the bubble, depending on where you look for us. I believe they're one of the last 4 in right now. And if they can get past Florida State, you got a puncher's chance. First four out, sorry. They got a puncher's chance against Duke, who is down 2 of their starters. SMU has really struggled. They lost 4 in a row. They've done it without BJ Edwards. If, knock on wood, BJ Edwards can get healthy for this, then they got to beat Syracuse and then beat a Louisville team that may or may not have an injury-ravaged Mikel Brown playing. And if you do those 2 things and say, hey, we got BJ Edwards back, we lost these 4 games without him, then I think that they're probably looking at being on the right side of the bubble. So Virginia Tech beat Wake Forest, beat Clemson, get past an injured NC State. Like, there's 5 teams in the ACC that will have their tournament lives determined in this tournament. So there's a lot of intrigue here, even with the injuries.
So, okay. So who, just to nail it down, who's your sleeper then? If you're identifying one team, who is it?
I'm going to go with Florida State. Florida State's won 3 in a row. They've won 6 of the last 7. They've won, I believe it is 11 of their last 14. Luke Locks has kind of figured out what it takes to win in college basketball. He reminds me a little bit of Kevin Young last year, where he's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. I'm going to change what college basketball is. And then he realized, like, yeah, dudes at this level are a lot more physical because they let you get away with a lot more playing in college than you do in the NBA. And it's great to be able to make threes, but if you don't have NBA caliber shooters, it's a little bit different. So I think Florida State's kind of figured some things out here. I'm going to take them to beat Cal. I'm going to take them to beat Duke.
All right. Who's a sleeper for you, Tyler?
Sleeper to win it would be Miami for me. I just think that they dominate the paint. They have athleticism. Malik Renew, he's been playing unbelievable down low. Their forward, Trey Donaldson, if he gets it going from outside. And Ernest Uday, who's really dominated the paint. He's a big physical guy. Boy, he destroyed us when we played him. It just feels like Jay Lucas has done a really good job down there. You got to give him a lot of credit. But they're playing discipline. They're playing with intent. They have a style. They have an identity, and they know how to play. If they show up and they get it going and they get some outside shooting and some scoring, I think they could go on a little run and win the whole thing.
Yeah, Rob, just a note on Jay Lucas. I mean, obviously Miami is not exactly just a walk in and set it and forget it job. I mean, I know Larinaga obviously had some good years there, had a Final Four, but that was kind of the outlier. It's not historically been a super easy job to win at. And he's come in and in a very short time restored that program to relevance and respectability. Just a word from you on him and what he's done. And obviously getting this Miami team to a 3 seed is pretty damn remarkable in my view.
They're talented, man. Like, they're really talented. They got a couple guards that can really go. Trey Donaldson has been one of the best closers in college basketball. Malik Reneau is a guy that has found a home after struggling for a couple years at Indiana. And, I think the guy that's my favorite player on this team, and favorite guy to watch, is Shelton Henderson. Like, this dude is so tough and so good defensively and such a junkyard dog. I think that he is in an age where, or in a season where we have so many freshmen that we've highlighted all season long. He doesn't do anything sexy, and that's part of why we've kind of overlooked the fact that he's been really, really good. And they got pieces for the future. Dante Allen is going to be a stud for Miami in a year or two. He was a guy that he played with the Boozers in AAU ball. He played for the Knight Riders with them. So he's won all of those games. He knows how to be a piece on a team that has stars around him. So I really, really like this Miami team.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch him do that and get some consistency and, again, build that team, right? It's building it, it's coaching it, and sometimes you can build a team and it doesn't come together, and that's where the coaching comes in. And he's obviously done a magnificent job of doing that down there in Coral Gables. All right, we will come back, and when we do, we're going to take a look at the Big 12. Who's coming out of the Big 12 in that tournament? We'll break that down when we get back. Field of 68 after dark.
Taking care of your mental health shouldn't be harder than taking care of your physical health. If you pull a muscle, you go see a doctor. But when it comes to finding the right therapist, suddenly it's frustrating. You've got long wait lists or you're staring down huge out-of-pocket costs. That's where Rula comes in. Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. They work with most major insurance providers, and the average session copay is just $15. And with Rula, you're not matched and left to figure it out. They check in and they make sure that you're actually making progress. Every therapist on the platform is licensed, vetted, and picked for their expertise. So you know you're talking to someone legit, not whoever happens to be available. You answer a couple questions and Rula connects you with an in-network provider who actually fits your needs. You can be talking to a therapist as soon as the next day. Thousands of guys have already used Rula to get the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to rula.com/F68 and get started today. That's RULA.com/F68. Take the first step, get connected, and take control of your mental health. We are running it back with Splash Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, the Survivor contest that we hosted with Splash paid out $40,000 to the winner. This year, the grand prize pays out a guaranteed $100K. For just $25 an entry and up to 133 entries, you can get a chance to prove that you are smarter than the Field of 68. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Just pick one team every day of the tournament to win, and if they do, you advance. The catch? You can only use each team once. We're also hosting a free-to-enter bracket on Splash. If you're looking to host one of your own, Splash can handle everything for you, from the entries to the payouts to the standings. We'll be running it back with the Sweet 16 Survivor contest as well for those that do not survive the first weekend. And Splash is now offering Quick Picks, a daily fantasy game that allows you to predict whether a player reaches a certain number on a specific stat. All links are in the description below. The big dance starts soon. Get in before it tips off.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, Monday, March 9th edition of the show. We're on SiriusXM for about 15 more minutes, and then we're going to head over to YouTube and X exclusively for a little bit of afters where we'll talk about the Big East tournament, otherwise known as UConn St. John's Round 3. So we'll do that in the afters. In the meantime, in between time, let's talk about the Big 12. Big 12 tournament gets underway tomorrow. And listen, Arizona's sitting there as the 1 seed, but man, Houston is the 2. And I know they'd like to go into the postseason, you know, on a high note. Kansas there at 3, Texas Tech 4 seed, Iowa State amazingly the 5 seed, which just kind of tells you about the kind of year it has been in this vaunted gauntlet of a league, the Big 12. Arizona's obviously the favorite. Rob Dauster, they going to win it?
Oh man, I actually think that there's a couple other teams that I think are really interesting. One of them is Iowa State, because Iowa State always draws. They always bring fans to the Big 12 tournament, and it feels like they're one of those programs that always cares about the Big 12 tournament. And the other one is Kansas. I know how crazy this is going to sound, okay, that I'm about to say, yeah, I think the team with a guy who can barely play one game without getting hurt is going to be able to play 3 games in 3 days without getting hurt. But I just, they're in Kansas City. You know, there's going to be Jayhawk fans that show up. We know what they can be when they defend, and it feels like Darryn Peterson to do. He's had a couple rough games in a row. So I actually like Kansas and Iowa State both at those numbers. It feels like those are really good prices for 2 teams that are going to be playing in effectively home court environments whenever they play.
All right, so that's 2 teams. I need 1.
Kansas. I got Kansas winning it.
All right, Kansas. Kansas from Rob. Tyler, who's winning the Big 12 tournament to you?
I think I'm going to roll with Houston. I'm not going to pick Arizona, but I think if they can get big nights from Emmanuel Sharp, Flemings, and Uzan, and some quality play from their bigs, the way they play defense and their identity, I think they can make a little bit of a run. I think they're a proven team. Calvin, I mean, he's done an unbelievable job, and he's one of those coaches. He has no off switch. So I think he'll have Houston ready, and I think I could see them walking out winning the tournament.
I'm going to agree, even though historically we know that it has not always meant the most to Kelvin Sampson, depending on injury. I do think this one will mean something just because it's been a rougher year than they're used to, which, again, the bar is extremely freaking high for them. But I think
I have a Houston take. Can I give you my Houston take?
Are you workshopping it, or are you running it, or like?
Yeah, I'm workshopping it. I want to get your feel, John, to see if it is an acceptable take. I think that this is a very different Houston team than we've seen in past years, and I'm actually a little worried about them when it comes to a tournament setting, because I think so much of what they do offensively this year without Jawan Robertson, without that really like low post threat, is give the ball to 3 really talented, in my opinion, 3 NBA guards to go out there and kind of make plays off the bounce. And I think that they rely a little too heavily, for my taste, on tough off the dribble jumpers and tough shots that are made by guys that have kind of become synonymous with being tough shot makers. Like Kingston Flemings is a dude that lives in the mid range, which is fun to watch. And he's really, really good at getting to his spots and elevating and knocking down jumpers. And it's really, really difficult to be able to do that consistently against elite on ball defenders. Emmanuel Sharp is a guy who's one of my favorite players to watch, because he is like, he just lets it go. Like, he sees one shot go in and he's hot, and his next 3 times he touches the ball, it's a heat check. And half the time he makes 3 out of 4 of those. Right. But the problem is, like, a lot of those are tough shots. Milos Uzan, same thing. They're a little too reliant on tough shots for me. And I think if you look at the 3-game losing streak they had, Iowa State's got Tamin Lipsey, Killian Torrey, right? Arizona's got Jaden Bradley and Braden Burries. Kansas has Melvin Council in their backcourt and Trey White and some really good defenders overall, especially when they start switching. And I just think that if they run into a team that has those really good perimeter defenders, that they're a little bit more beatable than they've been in the past. So I think I'm concerned about Houston in the sense that you could be concerned about a team that is like a top 2 seed, right? I think that they are a step below the top 4 teams in college basketball.
Tyler, what do you think? Do you have a response to that? He says Houston's a cut below this year.
So I don't think he meant it like that. But, at first when Rob started his take saying 3 NBA guards, I kind of laughed. But then, I listened to him, and he has a point. Off the dribble, I don't care, mid-range, three-pointer, that's a low percentage shot, and that's kind of almost hovering on hero basketball. And if you guys know me, I love the inside play and dominating the interior. And this isn't the typical Calvin Sampson team where they're going to beat you up, grind it down low, have some athletic bigs, and just kind of bully ball you. This is a little more finesse and guard-oriented team from Houston. I understand what he's trying to sell us, and I'm kind of buying it a little bit. And especially after he made that point, I hate off the dribble. I hate off the dribble jump shots. I can't stand it. I've watched so many people this year do off the dribble 3-point shots, and I almost want to take my headset down and just stomp on it after I see those plays. I think it's losing basketball.
You should do that. Can we get that one day, Tyler? Someone takes a bad shot, and you have to take the headset off, and you have to stomp on it.
If it's off the dribble 3-point shot that's contested 2 or 3 feet behind the line, that will be the time when I do it. And it's not a heat check. It's not after a guy that made like 2 or 3 threes in a row. It's just, hey, this is our offense. We're going to hemorrhage threes, and we're going to pull them up from off the dribble. That's where I would shatter my headset. But, back to your Houston point, I do think that Calvin has enough identity where he teaches defense well enough that they're going to have good defensive fundamentals and a foundation to fall on when these guys aren't hitting shots. So I'm not necessarily as concerned, but I do understand what you're saying. And I kind of bought it a little bit. The way you said that, it makes me think a little bit more about Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I think, early in the year, again, like the standard has been so high, it's pretty much impossible to replace a guy in your program like Jawan Roberts and honestly LJ Cryer, who hit so many massive shots for them last year. And again, they've done it as well as you could probably hope to do it, Rob, because they're sitting here and they're the two in the Big 12. I know they're used to winning it, but they're still right there at 2. So I think they've done as good a job as you could ever reasonably hope to do. But it's just at some point you can't. At some point there's going to be a little bit of a step back. It hasn't been enormous. It hasn't been an enormous step back by any stretch of the imagination, obviously, but it has not been the Houston that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years. So, all right, give me a sleeper in the Big 12, Rob.
I'm assuming Iowa State does not count as a sleeper. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're not counting Iowa State as a sleeper. I'm going with the team that has the potential number 1 pick on the roster. I'm going with the 10 seed BYU Cougars. You get past Kansas State, which should be something that they are certainly capable of doing. And then you play West Virginia, who beat them a couple weeks ago. I think it's a little different now that you're in tournament time and you really got something to play for. And then you get Houston. And I don't know if Houston has a guy that can match up with AJ dybantsa. So I'm taking BYU to be the sleeper. I think that they have a real chance to get to Friday in the Big 12 tournament. So I like BYU as the sleeper. I think that's the obvious pick, to be frank.
Tyler, I do want to follow up a quick question that I had for you. You were talking about how, when you see certain shots, it makes you want to, take your headset off. And are you wearing the headset while you're watching the games? Like, is it just like anywhere you happen to be, that headset's on?
Hey, John, when I'm working the radio for UNC, I wear my headset, and occasionally when I'm gaming, I'll have my headset on. But no, I don't watch the games with the headset. So,
By the way, I know we have a few minutes. What are you gaming? What are you playing?
That was a joke. I don't game. I've never gamed. I don't play video games at all. I want to sneak in my sleeper real quick.
Please
and
do
it. It's a team that beat Houston. They beat Iowa State. They beat Kansas. They haven't beat Arizona yet, and they win a couple games. They're going to match up with Arizona. That's my guy, Wes Miller. He's turned his team around. I know everybody was upset. He stayed with it. They persevered, and they got some big-time dubs. I'm not sure how bubble they are, but they could use some wins to help their case and sneak into the tournament. I think Day Thomas, he can get it going. Bob Miller, if he gets going and he gets hot, he's an issue, has size. He can score about anywhere on the court. So Cincinnati's going to be my sleeper.
I was going to say, like, if we did the bid stealer in this one, Cincinnati to me is the bid stealer because you get past Utah, which if you can't get past Utah, then we got bigger questions. And then you play UCF, who is a tournament team. That is a quality win if you could beat UCF. And then you throw a haymaker at Arizona, and you never know. Koa Pete's been banged up. We know Braden Burries has been sick. Dwayne Aristo's been sick. So hopefully, if you are a Cincinnati fan, like that's the draw you want. Because if you can get past UCF and you throw a haymaker at Arizona and it lands, you're dancing. You are in the tournament if that happens.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna be bold, and I'm gonna say Arizona wins it.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna be bold because you guys say they have no chance. They're dead in the water. They're the favorites. They don't care. This is a team that you don't think Jaden Bradley wants to win the Big 12 tournament? You don't think that, Rob?
No, I do. I just think that
No, you don't because you didn't pick him. You didn't pick him. So you obviously don't think he wants to win it.
You're right. I hate Jaden Bradley. I'm an anti-Jaden
You
Bradley.
You have no respect. Mm-hmm. You have no respect for. Are we doing toast here? Or are we doing toast?
Yes,
later?
Toast.
Let me start. I want to toast to Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year. Suck it, Rob, and soon to be Big 12 tournament champion.
I will toast Bob Ritchie and the Furman Paladins, who made it back to the NCAA tournament tonight with a win as a 6th seed in the SoCon tournament title game.
Yeah, and my toast is going to go to Alex Wilkins, who went off for 34 tonight for Furman too. So got to give him some credit, and he's got my toast.
All right, obviously we've gone through most of the major tournaments on the main show here on SiriusXM. We're going to head over to the afters on YouTube and X, and we're going to talk about the Big East. We're going to talk about some bids that got claimed today and any miscellany that Trevor throws at us. Is that fair to say? Catch us on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey everyone, Jeff Goodman here, and I'm excited to tell you about what's going on with our partners at Voodoo Rangers. You know what makes March even better? Chaos. That 111 seed that nobody believed in suddenly ruining everyone's weekend. And this year, Voodoo Ranger wants you to bet on 11. Grab a can of G-Force IPA with 11% ABV, then register that beer at bet11.com. If an 11 seed advances, you have a chance to win a juicy prize, $11,000. We're also taking a trip to Vegas, exclusive G-Force merch. And if an 11 seed pulls off an upset, 1,100 fans could win cash for their next round. It's the juiciest bet of the tournament. No brackets, no stress, just cold beer and beautiful chaos. Visit beton11.com to enter. Win or lose, still got beer. Learn more at bet11.com. You must be 21 or older. No alcohol purchase necessary. Legal in all 50 states. Full rules at beton11.com.
These my DJ Burn shades I had for.
That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. They're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome to the Afters. Rob Dauster, Tyler Hansbrough, John Martin here with you for a few minutes here in the in the post game, in the after party. This is the after party. The
Hey,
after party.
John, can I just say we don't just promote stuff; we actually consume the products that we promote.
right.
Voodoo Ranger, Imperial
That's
IPA.
right.
Go get you some. They don't have the G-Force in my store yet, so
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. I wanted the 11% beer. You got to kick it up.
No,
a notch.
the perfect night for Rob Dauster is ripping Voodoo Ranger and BetMGM bets and donating
On
back
Monday
to
night.
the good folks at BetMGM.
Hey Tyler, when we get to DC, are you will you shotgun an 11% G-Force Imperial IPA from Voodoo Ranger on camera?
God, man,
What do we have to do to make that happen? What do we have to do? What do we have to do?
I'm not a beer guy. I'll do it with you. Yeah, I'll shotgun with you. Do 11%. John, are you going to DC too, John? Or
I am, yeah.
All right. Well, you'll rip one with us too, then. So
yeah. What are you if not a beer guy? So what do you drink?
a little bit of mixture of everything, whatever you throw my way. I'm a big whiskey guy. I can drink some whiskey, drink some vodka. I don't know.
I like it.
I don't drink white wine. I drink only red wine. So,
okay.
Whatever.
Okay. Anything?
I for one am shocked that Tyler Hansbrough is a whiskey guy and not a white wine guy. I never could have predicted that.
No, I mean, you basically played like Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, the two beers, that. So we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that in DC. All right. 2 tickets punched tonight to the NCAA tournament. Troy and Furman, who we are going to hear from each of those head coaches, Scott Cross and Bob Ritchie, respectively, here in just a minute. But Rob, I know you had some things that you wanted to say real quick about each of those teams before we get there.
I'm really happy for both of those coaches because I think they go about it the right way. And Bob Ritchie is a guy that he bet on us, right? He bet on the field of 68. The first live game that we ever did on the field of 68 was in the 22-23 season, the year that they went to the tournament and they beat UVA on the buzzer beater. He bet on us because he understood or believed in the value that we could provide. And he's been a supporter of the network since then. And it's really cool to see him be able to get back to the tournament. It's hard for guys in the mid-major ranks that want to build a program and then have some of their best players get poached in the portal. So to be able to see him get these guys in, bet on a couple freshmen, have those freshmen pay off and see it turn into a win is really cool. And then Scott Cross, he was let go at a job before Troy and it was baffling that they decided to make that move when they decided to make that move. But he's landed at Troy. He's going to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. His whole roster is built around guys that are coming back. He's got his son as a guy that comes off the bench as a redshirt freshman. He's got a couple twins on the team that play minutes, and it's cool when you see programs like that find a way to be able to get into the dance. So he's a big Waffle House guy, John. I don't know if you're a Waffle House guy, but Scott Cross, the way that he recruits players is on their recruiting visit. If they have a problem going to the Waffle House for dinner on their recruiting visit, like he can't recruit them. He's got to have guys that are okay going to the Waffle House. And if you're too fancy for the Waffle House, you're too fancy for Scott Cross.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that wouldn't have Waffle House. Like, I mean, I would prefer it to be like late at night, preferably after I had a few. I've shotgunned a few Voodoo Rangers with Hansbrough, but yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those conditional things. You know what I mean? I'm not going at like 4:00 in the afternoon, but I know there are some Waffle House truthers out there. They swear by it. So, yeah, I get it though.
Terrence Oglesby is one of them.
Yeah,
T.O. took us to Waffle House. True story. We were at Peach Jam in 2024, and T.O. took us to Waffle House for lunch at 1:30 in the afternoon.
I think that's where I would have to draw the line, to be honest. You know, like just not the right time or place to do that. All right. We've got some a few moments with each of these coaches. Scott Cross and Bob Ritchie, and you're going to hear from these gentlemen now.
For the second time in 2 seasons, we are welcoming on to the Field of 68 After Dark after winning the Sun Belt Championship. Scott Cross, head coach of the Troy Trojans. You're going back, man. You're dancing again. How's it feel?
Oh, it's amazing. Thankful to the good Lord. But our guys played extremely hard. I've said this many times. Like, I feel like the Sun Belt has to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to get to the NCAA tournament, because there's 14 teams and there's no difference between any of us. And only one team's going to go. That's the bottom line. Unless a team, and I don't think it'll ever happen in the Sun Belt. I don't see a team going undefeated throughout the league. It's just not going to happen because we're too evenly matched. So you had to win this tournament. We had a bye all the way to the semifinals, which is what we wanted. It hadn't happened before. The 1 and 2 seed have not won, and so we were very, very fortunate. Our guys, they got it done. Thomas Dowd. I mean, it starts with a guy like him. You could just see it in his eyes, like he was going to refuse to let us lose, and it kind of transcended the whole team. But I've got a super, super high character basketball team. I mean, that's what makes this group special. They're as connected as any team I've ever been a part of. I never leave practice mad. Like, I'm always in a good mood, which has never happened. I'm usually pissed off at the end of practice, but they're such good kids and they're so coachable and fun to be around. And I mean, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching basketball.
Wow. You've been doing this a long time. So for you
Long
to say
time.
that,
Yeah.
all right. So take me through, though. Everybody's getting crushed by the portal these days. You were no exception to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Thomas back, but the other 4 starters from that team all left for more money, all left elsewhere. We saw Tate and Conaway, obviously, at Indiana, your leading scorer last year. But instead of having to go to the portal and reload, all you did was say, all right, I'm going to take my 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th man, and they're going to get an opportunity. And that's what happened. Victor took a huge jump. Theo took a huge – everybody, Coop, they all took big jumps this year. Why did you feel confident that you were going to be able to do that with this group?
Yeah, we made the decision. Greg Young, who's with Buzz now at Maryland, we talked about it, and we were just like, man, we got the right culture in place. We just need to retain these guys. So instead of trying to go to the portal and use money and this and that, we just focused on our guys that we had. We knew they were about the right stuff. It's a credit to my staff. They're the ones, honestly, that are doing all the player development stuff. My bosses allowed us to bring Phil Begner in, who's Damian Lillard's trainer, one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
He's helped us with our player development plan. So we have an individual plan for each and every one of our guys, and we hang it up on their locker. We talk to them about it, before every practice. So it's 7:30. We're doing 30 minutes of skill work, which is just going to be basic ball handling, basic form shooting, basic passing, footwork. So they're getting that 30 minutes every practice. And then, we try and get them in the gym extra with their skill coach, so it's all about developing them and getting them better. And these guys have gotten better, and they're great kids. They're unselfish. They play together. So you can just see it. Even a guy like Evan Griffin. So he hardly got to play any minutes at all. Well, then Theo has, the knee fracture, and now all of a sudden Evan's a backup, and his improvement, he really, really helped us defensively. But it's because those guys, even when they're not playing, my staff is really, really invested in making those guys better. And I think they see it. That's what I told those young guys when they went in. Now do you see, was it worth it? Now you get to enjoy going to the dance. It's going to be the best week of your life. You're a part of it. You guys made us better. We tried to develop you all year long. They're competitive with the guys we have. And, I still think we got great guys. They'll just keep getting better and better. And it's, again, like I said, it's a fun group to coach.
And now let me welcome onto the Field of 68, the champ of the SoCon, none other than Bob Ritchie, Furman head coach. First and foremost, Bob, before we talk about your team, I just want you to know that while I was watching this game, I had a nice prime ribeye,
man,
that I cooked in the oven for about 45 minutes. Okay. I had a little bit of a coffee rub on it,
There
seared
you
it
go.
off, and that's what I enjoyed while I was watching you guys win a championship.
Hey, that's a good night right there. That's a good night. You get a good steak, nice little coffee rub, and we get a big time win, and just an unbelievable night to be a Furman Paladin.
So this year was a little bit different for you. Again, we had you in the Field of 68 tip-off. You did not play very well in that game, but you weren't rattled. Like you weren't. I thought you'd be really down after that game, and you got blasted by High Point. You go on. You're 1-3 to start the year. You got injuries. Coop got hurt for a while. You got other injuries. Never seemed too rattled, and you're peaking at the right time. As a 6th seed, you win this thing and beat East Tennessee State. How'd you do it?
Well, I think it's Jeff, we made a decision to go and recruit 5 freshmen last year. And, I think in a place like Furman that we still want to build program, even in this new landscape. We know we have to have portal, but we still want to have program. I didn't want to not have a base. I didn't want to just every single year have to cycle through. And I thought this was a good opportunity to lay a foundation and get some young guys. And really, to be honest with you, the original plan was to sign 4 freshmen. But as we got into it and everybody was in the portal and everybody was a little bit apprehensive to take high school kids, we had a chance to get 5 of them. And I said, you know what? Let's just take it. Let's just take them and we'll figure it out. These kids are clearly above us. And, like 5 years ago, we probably couldn't got any of them. Let's just take it and see what happens. Well, we get to the summer and it becomes pretty apparent that Alex Wilkins is going to start for us at point. And, Jeff, I've been the head coach 9 years here. I hadn't started a freshman ever. Okay. If you look at all our teams here, I don't know if I've played more than 1 freshman at a time. Like freshmen just don't play here. And, tonight we played 3 and one of them just got tournament MVP. But I told our team then, I said, listen, these are the games we can get. This is all we can get, right? We got to go to Northern Iowa. We got Troy at home. You had to get somebody to play High Point, right? I mean, nobody was trying to play High Point, right? So, I did it as a solid, but I also wanted to expose our team a little bit. Like I wanted them to see, even though we were a little bit young, how hard it was and get some clear areas of where we needed to improve. And then to be honest with you, we did. Like we won 12 or 14. And, it's one of those things where we were playing really well. We didn't lose a game in December. And then we went 12 or 14. And then, man, like we got the injury bug like I've never seen before. And I've never dealt with it. I really had, at least to this magnitude. And one thing I didn't really think of totally through is like how hard it was going to be to put it all back together, right? Because if you look at it, like when Cooper went down, we actually won 7 of 10. But we had shifted a guy to the 5 from the 4. We had shifted a guy from the 3 to the 4. And so now when Coop comes back, we got to shift those guys back. Yeah. Well, then it wasn't quite working, like it was fine, but we weren't scoring the ball great. We were actually playing hard. We went up to ETSU, had a 14-point lead, squandered it, but like held them to 61 at their place. But then, once we got to the end of the year, once we got over the regular season, I said, you know what? We're going to go back to playing a single big. And we're going to play one of these bigs less, and we're going to add a guard on the court. And I had to get the group to buy into it. We actually brought Cooper Bowser off the bench in the quarterfinal game versus Sanford. And we started Ed Bronson, and it just took a little bit of pressure off of Lex, right, where he didn't have to do everything with the ball in his hands. And I thought we were able to play a lot more space. And so really, I mean, we averaged 86, 81, and then whatever we scored tonight, I think 76 maybe. So we averaged over 80 points a game in a tournament. And, it was really just a team buying into some, adjustments to the rotation to be able to get us to best.
Good stuff there from, obviously, Rob Dauster, one of his finer efforts in terms of question asking, you have to say. So good stuff there from Bob Ritchie and Scott Cross. Again, those gentlemen going dancing. So congrats to both of them. Before we get out of here tonight, let's talk about the Big East tournament. And I asked Rob, I said, hey, man, why didn't we talk about the Big East tournament in the main show in the first hour? We could have certainly done that. And, he appropriately pointed out to me that because it's really just going to boil down to St. John's and UConn meeting again for a third time in all likelihood in the Big East championship. So with that being said, Rob, St. John's or UConn, who's winning?
Oh man. So I have little to no confidence right now in UConn. I think that I'm probably too close to it, but they just have not. The issues that they've had, and you know what's funny? We got these odds up there right now from Dagan. I know he's put those in a couple hours ago because I just checked my app, and UConn is minus 135 and St. John's is plus 210. So the money is moving towards. I'm looking at it right now. It's UConn minus 135 and St. John's plus 210, which means that UConn is not just a favorite, but is increasing in terms of their favoriteness, whatever it ends up being. They just have not gotten better. The turnovers are still an issue. The dumb fouls are still an issue. The questions about the bench is still an issue. They have shooters that have not been able to shoot. That's been an issue. And when you go on the road and you have that kind of performance and you lay that kind of an egg in a game where you have a chance to be able to win a championship, it does not give me any kind of confidence that this team is going to be able to make a run in March. All that said, the last time that I felt this way was after they got embarrassed by Creighton in their own building, and they turned around and they mollywopped Villanova on the road, and they beat the absolute brakes off St. John's at home. So it is clear to me why the money is moving in that direction. It is clear to me that UConn is actually the best team in the Big East, and it is clear to me that on Saturday night, around, let's say, 8:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the only legitimate time zone, John, UConn is going to be cutting down nets in Madison Square Garden once again. That's what we do. We win Big East tournaments.
This is amazing because their season ended over the weekend to Marquette. And so to see them, still playing and fighting for something, Tyler, is it's admirable. Do you agree? Do you agree with Rob that it's UConn?
Yeah, it's not even close. UConn's going to win this thing. And I know Dauster's kind of it's no. I mean, Terrace Reed, if he's at 70%, they win. I mean, he's an issue. Solo ball, Caravan. Now, if Caravan goes cold, we might have some issues, and we know he can do that. But I trust UConn. I just like UConn. I'm not sold on anybody in the Big East outside of them. St. John's been up and down all year. I just don't think that they have anybody that can match up with Terrace Reed down low. And I know Bryce Hopkins is a pretty good player, but he's not. He doesn't have the size that Terrace Reed has. Now, I do get a little worried about Terrace Reed getting in foul trouble, but I think I want him to stop fouling so much because, man, he gets hot and he goes on these big nights, and I just look up, he's got 4 fouls, and now he's got to play passive the whole game. But
you sound like a UConn fan. He'll score 12 of the first 14 points of the game, and with 14 minutes left in the half, he'll pick up his second foul, and then he'll have to go sit on the bench for the rest of the first half. And it's just like you want to rip your hair out, Tyler. You know how you said, I mean, when you see someone go like tween behind the back, step back 3 with a hand in their face and 20 seconds left on the shot clock, you want to throw your headset? Well, every time I see Terrace Reed pick up a second foul with 15 minutes left in the first half, I want to take this camera right here and I want to throw it through that window right over there. That's what I want to do. It drives me nuts.
Wow. Well, as long as he's not getting it 94 feet away from the basket out of frustration. But yeah, I'm with you. UConn's going to win this one. I just trust UConn too much. And, I like their weapons.
He knows what he's talking about. T knows what he's talking about. John, you better back us up here. What do you got?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've tried to lean into this UConn team all year. I think all the issues that you talked about when we did the show on Saturday are hard to ignore. I mean, they just, and the Big East is so bad that, it's like you can mask all those problems, which I think they've done by virtue of being in the Big East. But St. John's, obviously, in that first meeting, did a good job of exposing them. And in the second meeting, that was like the get back for Dan Hurley. I don't know. If I'm getting plus money with St. John's, I think I'm going to take St. John's.
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. Traitor.
You know who Benedict Arnold
Traitor.
was? You ever heard of the name Benedict Arnold?
I'm very familiar. I also watched the Traitor series on Peacock. So I think that is a great show. It's a great show. I recommend it if you're not watching it. So I'll have to do that. I'll be the St. John's representation on this show tonight. All right, what else we got, Dig? We got questions, we got concerns, comments, feedback.
We have a few questions from Trevor, so we'll get to those quick. But I do want to ask, since you just said that, I also just finished the traders. So who would be the best trader at the Field of 68, John?
The answer is obviously John Martin.
Well, I'm not going to say myself, but
I got one.
I do think I'd
first.
play it pretty well. You know, I think Randolph actually might be
that's what I was
a
gonna
good
say.
trader.
RC would be a great trader.
Because RC is just sort of like, I don't know, the last couple, I think now that the calendar has hit March, you know, he's not as grumpy. But, you know, it's like you just kind of, that's just who he is, you know? And so you don't think like this guy's a trade. No, that's just how RC is. He's kind of just a little grumpy. So I would say RC because he's also very likable, and you would never think he's pulling, he's pulling wool over your eyes. I would go RC. Sneaky honorable mention to John Henson.
Well, those are good. All right, well, now we'll get to Trevor's questions. So here we go. Up first. Buckle up, everybody. If every time you sneezed, you teleported 10 feet in a random direction, how long until your life is ruined?
I mean, you don't sneeze that much, do you? I mean, you only sneeze usually they come in waves, right? Like it's like 2.
I sneeze a lot when I go outside. Sunlight makes me sneeze. The first time you see the sun,
I'm not a big sneezer, so it would not really impact me that much.
I mean, I'll give you the obvious option here. When you're driving, I mean, you'd be pretty screwed.
Yes.
Yeah. But aren't you limited by the door of the car though? Like you can't. Or
you wouldn't. No,
you're teleporting. You're going through the door.
Oh, you're teleporting.
But here's the problem. Like you would be fine because you would just teleport to a different spot. Your car is still. Imagine teleporting on the highway, and you teleport over onto like the highway, and boom, your car is going 80 miles an hour, so without a driver.
Yeah, but then you'd be on the highway. Highways are wider than 10 feet.
True. Right, you'd be on the highway. You're a goner. You're a goner. So, and then you're getting hit with a wrongful death lawsuit because that car is going to hit somebody.
Yes.
So
not only are you dead, but now you're in debt $3 million.
Yeah, your family's going to have to come up with that. I mean, that's insane. Thanks, Trevor.
All right, and the last one from Trev for tonight before we all go to bed. Would you rather be physically forced to loudly clap every time your plane lands, or physically forced to bark every time your doorbell rings?
Tyler, you go first, man.
You know what? I've been on some rough flights, so every time I land, you know, I'm pretty satisfied. One, I'm arriving somewhere and I don't have to be in the air any longer. And I know I hate the people that clap too, but they're not as bad as the people that stand up as soon as you land. So I'll just clap every time I land. You're talking about in a plane, right? You're not just talking about when I jump up there. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that because I think barking whenever somebody rings your doorbell. First of all, I don't have a doorbell here, so I would never have to bark. So it's probably a bad answer on my behalf, but I just feel like that sets a weird precedence for whenever you do open the door, you're barking. And you know, somebody rings your doorbell and you're barking and you don't have a dog.
Well, what happens if you have people?
Well, you're the dog. You're a dog, Tyler.
I'm the big dog, but I'm not an actual dog, so that would be a little weird.
What if you have people over? That's the big question. Like imagine having a Super Bowl party and you got like 30 people in your house and someone rings the doorbell and you have to just start barking.
Guys, I don't have a doorbell. I do not have a doorbell at my place.
Why? How?
It says I live in a condo. Nobody gonna knock.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think clapping on a flight is fine. I mean, I think you look like an idiot, but I also understand that, you know, some people have real anxiety about air travel. So, that's fine. I'll do that.
Clap on the flight. I would rather, if I clapped on the flight, would it allow me to slap the people that like get in the aisle and just start running up the aisle to try to get in front of everybody before anyone else
That
stands
is
up.
the worst.
God, I hate
That is
those.
the worst.
Those are the worst. Those are the worst.
It's like, brother, we are all getting out at the same time. Like, can we please maintain some order? I mean, societal order breaks down the minute a flight lands.
In an airport, there is no societal order. You got people drinking whiskey at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like there's no rules in an airport. It's
But here's the thing with that though. When people stand up, I feel like I got to stand up now. Because if I don't stand up, then I'm going to get taken advantage of by the people behind me. So it just creates this, to me, chain reaction of just awfulness and lack of etiquette. But if I don't stand up, then I'm going to get passed. So now I got to stand up because
I always stand up as soon as we get to the gate. One, because like it's just it's so uncomfortable sitting in a seat. I always get an aisle seat, so you stand up and you just stand in the aisle right next to your seat, right? And two, it's just easier, and you can stretch your legs and whatever. And two, you block anybody that's going to try to run to the front, and they get mad at you when you do it, and that's the best feeling in the world because you just put your earbuds in, and you could see them saying something on the side of you, and you just stand in the way, and you could just pretend like you can't hear them because you're listening to music or a podcast. So,
yeah,
I guess I would clap.
All right,
when
well,
flight lands. I don't want to bark.
You know
My
what?
dog already does enough.
If you just fly first class, you just don't ever have to worry about that shit, right? So it's my new rule. It's my new rule.
John Martin takes the PJ whenever he's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's my goal. I haven't been on a PJ yet. I know a couple people that have one, and I've told them if you don't get me on that bitch, we're gonna have some problems. Haven't gotten it yet, but it's gonna happen at some point. Is that it? Is that it for the night? All right, it's going to do it for us on a Monday, March 9th edition of the show. Of course, keep it locked here on Field of 68 throughout the entire month of March. And then even after the season ends, in many ways, it's where we're at our best because the portal season begins and the carousel begins. We will not stop even after the NCAA tournament is over. So make sure you keep it locked here on the Field of 68. For Rob Dauster, for Tyler Hansberg, I'm John Martin. Have a great night.